Minister Najib, ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to have hosted the Singapore-Malaysia Leaders Retreat this morning with Prime Minister Najib. We had very good discussions. Our bilateral relations are in very good shape. Both sides have been able to work well together. We have many concrete projects which our people will be benefiting from, and there's much more that we can do together. One example of a project which has borne fruit is Marina 1 and Duo, which the Prime Minister and I launched yesterday evening. We embarked on these projects about 5 years ago when we resolved the 1990 points of agreement on Malayan Railway land in Singapore. Today, Marina 1 and Duo are prominent landmarks in downtown Singapore, with a combined gross development value of about 11 billion Singapore dollars. It's one bright example of what we can do together. There are other examples of infrastructure projects which can improve connectivity and bring our peoples and businesses closer. The high-speed rail has made good progress since we signed the bilateral agreement in 2016. Last month, we called the joint tender for the assets company. There's strong international interest, and we will have many good offers to choose from. The procurement will be done in a fair, open, and transparent manner. We've also just signed the bilateral agreement for the RTS link. It's an important long-term cross-border project. When completed in 2024, it will benefit thousands of daily commuters and reduce causeway congestion. I'd like to thank the ministers, Koh Boon Wan on my side and Raman Dalan on the other side, and their respective teams for their hard work and close cooperation. The RTS link will replace the KTMB link to Woodlands when it becomes operational, but meanwhile, we'll increase the frequency of the shuttle service provided by KTMB Berhad, the train shuttle service. The enhanced connectivity will also boost economic cooperation in Istana, Malaysia. Singapore is the second largest foreign investor in Istana, Malaysia and Johor. The Temasek and Khazanah joint venture projects in the Istana, Malaysia, Affinity and Evira, are progressing well, and we're working closely together through the Joint Ministerial Committee for the IM to foster a conducive business environment and enhance vocational and technical education training in skills that investors need. I also discussed water with Prime Minister Najib. Our ministers and officials are working closely to ensure sufficient water supply from the Johor River for Malaysia and Singapore. As Istana, Malaysia and Johor grow, water demand in Johor will increase. And although the Lingui Reservoir has gradually filled up over the last year with good rainfall and with a barrage at Kota Tinggi, we do not know when the next prolonged dry spell will hit. So we must implement further schemes to increase the yield of the river and the resilience of the Lingui Reservoir. And the two sides will do a joint hydrometric modeling study of Johor River to examine measures to conserve Lingui Reservoir stock. Finally, we renewed our MOU on educational cooperation, which has been in place for 10 years. And we are also working on a triennial cultural showcase for the next retreat, which will be in Malaysia at the end of this year, centered on the theme of youth. These initiatives will help to build ties between our young and our future generations. So we are doing a lot together in infrastructure, in education and culture. There's also other security cooperation, counter-terrorism, diplomatic cooperation. And we are constantly looking for new areas to better the lives of our peoples. It's a sign of our confidence in each other's future and our commitment to good relations with one another. So I thank the Prime Minister for visiting us and look forward to visiting Malaysia for the next retreat after probably their general elections.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Hsien Loong, ministers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my deepest appreciation to you, Prime Minister, for hosting this annual consultation and for the very warm hospitality that you extended to me, my wife, members of my delegation. It's always great for us to be able to meet, to take stock of the current state of relations between Malaysia and Singapore. And I cannot agree more with you that we are very pleased with the current state of relations between Malaysia and Singapore, not only in terms of the overall nature of the relationship, but last night, we showed that when two countries work closely together, especially between two neighbors, you can make the relationship very productive. You can produce results. You can produce tangible results for the people of Singapore and Malaysia to see. And the two projects that we launched yesterday evening will be a landmark for generations to come. And I'd like to congratulate the people involved because they are truly a remarkable project, very creative project. And I still remember when I stood on the balcony of the Singapore Monetary Authority, and when you offered the two pieces of land, I accepted immediately because I could see that this was the way forward for us to resolve a long-standing issue between our two sides. The points of agreement was problematic. It had to be resolved. And I'm glad we resolved it in the best possible way, and today we can see the result of that resolution and the fact that we work well together, we can move the agenda forward in many ways, which you have mentioned in your remarks. Certainly, I look forward to working. Today, we signed the RTS. It will be completed by the year 2024. It will provide seamless connectivity. I think the key is seamless connectivity. Whilst we wait for the RTS, I did raise with Prime Minister Hsien Loong the need for us to look at the current congestion at our causeway. And today, reports that during peak hours, especially during the festivities and school holidays, there's quite significant congestion, and people from both sides have to wait as long as 3 to 4 hours to get clearance. And we both agree that we need to resolve this. And there's some proposals, and we are attracted to proposal by Prime Minister Hsien Loong that we could perhaps review the toll at the second link to make it more attractive for people to use the second link. This is something that we will take back, and we will communicate with each other, and hopefully we will be able to agree to a decision as soon as possible. Beyond that, there are other measures that we can look into because there are over 300,000 crossings per day at the causeway. Yeah. That's a huge number, and we need to find ways and means that we can facilitate and achieve our desire to have a more seamless connectivity. We appreciate the decision by the Singapore government to allow the KTM shuttle service to be increased. It has increased now to 26, and there's a proposal for it to go up to 31 in the near future. And certainly, this will be helpful. We will be very positive in terms of the management of water. It's very critical, not only for Singapore, but also Johor. The demand for water in Johor will increase very significantly, exponentially, because of Iskandar and because of rapid development in both Johor and Singapore. So there is a need for us to look into it, and we will commission a more detailed hydrometric study to come up with some technical proposals which we are confident will be able to increase the water supply for both Singapore and for Johor. I also raised some of the challenges relating to the management of Pasir Gudang and Tanjung Lansat Port, and we're grateful that the Prime Minister will look into some of the challenges relating to the flow of ships into the both ports. I gave the undertaking to Prime Minister Hsien Loong that Malaysia will fully support Singapore as chair of ASEAN. You've chosen a very appropriate theme for it, and your emphasis on digital economy is something that we can work closely together to promote regulations, to promote e-commerce, to promote e-payment, and also possible linking up Singapore and Kuala Lumpur as smart cities. All in all, I'm very pleased with the state of cooperation between our two countries. I'm excited of the possibilities in the near future, and I thank you once again for the hospitality. We look forward to receiving you end of next year.
This year.
End of this year, provided we get the right results, inshallah.
Thank you. I'm sure you'll be all right. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take questions from Singapore and Malaysia media. Please identify yourself before posing your question. May we have the first question from the Singapore media?
Hi, this is Kenneth with Today. My question has two parts. Could both Prime Ministers elaborate a bit more about the significance of the RTS to both sides, given that the bilateral agreement was signed today? And the second part of my question is, in the context of the upcoming Malaysian election, given that the HSR and the RTS are long-term projects spanning several terms of government, how will the two governments ensure that the projects will be unaffected by political and other changes? Thank you.
Well, the RTS will enhance our connectivity with Malaysia, and particularly with Johor. It will replace the KTM link, which is now running on the causeway. It's a bridge which will come underground in Singapore and then connect to the Republic Station on the Thomson line. So the capacity will relieve the capacity on the causeway and on the CIQ at the causeway, and it will provide a convenient means for Johorians to come to Singapore to work or to play, and Singaporeans to go to Johor to study, to work, to shop. It's an ambitious project. It's quite complicated because it has to start above ground, cross the water, go underground, and then there's a CIQ underground, and it must connect. Then the people can come out and go into the Singapore MRT trains, but we hope we'll get it up by 2024, and I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be possible. Like all projects which involve more than one country and span more than one term of government, it requires long-term commitment. The commitment is formalized, and the agreement which we signed between the two governments today is a binding agreement, and whoever is the government on either side, well, this is an agreement which they inherit and which they are party to. And if the subsequent government has other ideas, well, that will have to be dealt with, and the agreement will deal with these contingencies. But I have no doubt on Singapore's side, we have every intention of implementing what we signed and committed to today.
Well, on the RTS, I fully agree with what Prime Minister Hsien Loong mentioned. It will provide the seamless connectivity and the volume that's required. The volume is high. It's about 10,000 per hour, which is the level that's required in the future. It will replace the KTM. It's a complex project, but it's very doable, and the technical challenges can be overcome. So we are sanguine and optimistic that will change the nature of connectivity between Malaysia and Singapore. On the second question, we cannot determine what the electorate will decide, but we can offer our agenda for the people to decide. And we live in a democracy, and the people will decide, but we believe that they will decide on an agenda that's very meaningful and productive. And we believe in good relations with our neighbors, with Singapore, and we have proven that we can bring tangible benefits to the people if we work closely together. So that is the position of our government. The other side may have other ideas. We certainly do not want to return to the era of confrontational diplomacy and barbed rhetorics between our two countries. It was an era that we want to forget. We certainly do not want to come back to that era. And that is why we believe that the position of the current government is a position that will bring mutual benefit to both Singapore and Malaysia, and we stand by our policy, by our agenda, and by our ability to deliver real and tangible benefit to both the peoples of Malaysia and Singapore.
Thank you. May we have the second question from the Malaysia media?
Hi, Datuk Sri. Apa khabar, Mr. Lee? Okay, Masita from Bernama Malaysia. Just a short question. Marina 1 and 2 has completed. Could we expect more future development for M+S?
Well, we have two projects in Istana, Malaysia, Affinity, and the other one, Avira. They are progressing well. I think we complete the projects, and then we will look and see what further opportunities will arise. I hope there will be more opportunities.
Yeah, well, I hope so too.
Thank you. May we have the third question from the Singapore media?
Prime Ministers, Royston from Straits Times. I'd like to ask both of you, what is the outlook for bilateral relations in the coming year, given that it will be one where we might expect to see interesting domestic developments on both sides?
What domestic developments do you have in mind in Singapore?
Cabinet reshuffle.
I don't think the cabinet reshuffle in Singapore will affect our bilateral relations with Malaysia. And I look forward to our relations being stable and the Malaysian side taking a similar approach.
Yes. And I don't expect elections to change the nature of relations between our two countries as well.
Because you will have confidence in the result.
Thank you.
There's one more question, I think.
Thank
So
you.
we're done
Can
with
we
it.
have the fourth question from the Malaysia media?
Hi, Prime Minister. I'm Kairu from Sinchu. As we know that the Japanese government plans to backbid for the HSR project. Backbid the HSR project.
Back the bid, yes.
Backbid. Yeah. So from both the financial and technical.
Yes.
So my question is, so what are the criteria for both governments to choose which country to win the bid for the HSR? Thank you.
I don't have the spec sheet with me, but I'm sure we will work out a systematic list of items, what has to be evaluated, how they have to be weighted, what is a veto item, what is plus or minus a desirable item, and in the end you will have a systematic process to come to a recommendation and a decision. It is not unusual in a complex project to have to make evaluations on bids on many dimensions. It's not just the price, but the reliability, the conditions, the financing, the assurance you have, the track record, your confidence in the company, what they have done elsewhere. These are all, there's a process. In the end, there is a judgment involved, which we will do collectively, but if the process is transparent and open, I think people can have confidence that this was a judgment which was made honestly and in good faith and without prejudice to any party and without intending to favor or to hurt any side. When you have a competition, you must have a winner and a non-winner. It's like when you have an election, you must have a winner and a non-winner. And it must be settled in such a way that the winner wins fairly, and the person who didn't win must be able to accept, even if he's not happy, that it was done properly, and, well, this is just the way the chips fell. And that is what we are striving to do.
Thank you, and I fully agree with what Prime Minister Hsien Loong said. It will be a very comprehensive assessment, multidimensional assessment. It will be not just a matter of technical and cost, but it will also take into account the longevity of the project, in other words, life cycle cost, maintenance, and especially local content. That's important to maximize local content so that the people will see that the high-speed rail will really bring real benefit, tangible benefit, even during the construction period. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Come,